Welcome, everyone. I'm Carl Ford. We are here in the TMC newsroom in San Jose with Gary Clayton, who is from Nuance. And Gary, you are the first guy I've got with the Chief Creative Officer title today, so I want to thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure.
So tell me, how do you become a creativity officer? What is that? How did you get here?
Well, I think the title itself is sort of creative. It really works for me because I can sort of change the definition depending on the context of the conversation.
You can be creative with the job.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what it means nowadays at Nuance is sort of a combination of strategy, innovation, and design, and some mix of all that stuff put together. It's a sort of a frothy thing, and it served me well.
That's great. So you don't have to necessarily be involved with the product developers. You don't necessarily have to be involved with the back end guys. You can kind of
be on top
of.
It's more like I can be, but I can also be just to the degree I need to be.
That sounds wonderful. I wish I could get that title. So I'm going to be looking for it. Now, specifically to your company's creativity recently, you just launched a new app. So talk to me about the new app.
Yeah, Drag and Go launched for the iPhone iOS application. We've been very lucky with the reviews to date. It seems that folks really like it. Apple was very kind to us. They made it the app of the week. But I think really what it does, this application, it's a search application, and it enables me to speak what it is I'm looking for. I could key it in as well, but speech is the primary interface. And then it takes me directly to what I'm looking for. So traditionally, when you do a search result, you get back a ranked list of results. What we're looking to do is take you directly to where you want to go. So, for example, if I say tickets for Lady Gaga, it'll deliver me to Live Nation. If I say tickets for Bad Teacher, it'll deliver me to Fandango. If I say tickets for the San Francisco Giants, it'll bring me to StubHub. Another example might be one of my favorite restaurants in San Francisco is the Slanted Door. So if I say reservations for Slanted Door in San Francisco, it'll deliver me right there. But the way we set up the UI is that we've got tabs along the top with associated information. So if I say reservations for Slanted Door, it will deliver me to OpenTable. But the tab right next to it may very well be Yelp with reviews. And if I just flip to that tab, the reviews will be right at the top. Or there may be a map, or there may be a Twitter page with all the tweets about that restaurant. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to understand what the user, more about what's coming out of here than what's coming out of here. We're really trying to get to the intent. And the way I like to describe it is Nuance is moving from a speech company to a language company. And by language, I don't mean French or German. I mean understanding really what they want to get to.
The nuance of the language that they're using, in effect, yes.
Hence
the name, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice job.
Oh, thank you very much.
So okay, I get that. Now, just out of curiosity, I use you guys on my PC, and my wife uses her on her phone, and
it's the whole family.
Right, you got us both. It happens from time to time.
Nice.
So here's a question for you. Engine-wise, are we using the same engine, or does her iPhone basically go and process through Apple first and then through you? How does that work?
Well, Apple, they're not, that our engine is our engine and it resides in the cloud.
Okay.
So what typically happens is I speak into the iPhone. It captures the utterance. It transcodes it into a different codec, sends it into the cloud. We do the processing in the cloud, take the results back down here, and initiate the search. So all the recognition stuff is being done in the cloud for the iPhone.
But all the diphthongs and all the different tonal qualities are
it's all up in the cloud.
It's all being pushed up into the cloud.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no. Is that the case with Android as well? I thought there was something like defeating that, or maybe I was wrong on that.
So the whole Android side of it, I'm not going to even touch. I can't assume that I know what they're doing.
Okay.
I mean, I can assume, but I'm not going to go on record to say what I think they're doing. I mean, they've got a lot of smart guys over there as well, and there's it's a small industry, so people learn from others very, very quickly. But I like the direction things are taking, and it's funny because must have been about 2 years or so ago. I started working on the drag and dictation for the iPhone product. And there was a point at which, when I was working on this thing, where I had this insight. I've been working in the speech world for about 12 years or so, And there's a time when I pick up the phone and I realized that as I was speaking to my phone, I could create a document more accurately, more easily, and faster with my voice than I can with the keyboard. And for me, that was a point of inflection. That was the point at which I said, you know something? Wow, this is really... People have been talking about speech recognition for so many years, right? Everybody's been saying, oh, one day it'll be the primary way we interface with all our devices.
Star Trek taught me that.
Exactly. And you know, Bill Gates and all the luminaries out there were talking about this. But it was that moment where I said, you know something, it really has hit prime time. It really is a primary way of interacting. And then you take just a moment to say, that was really cool. Then you think, what's next? And that's really where the whole language thing comes in, you know, going after the intent. So I don't know if you saw earlier this year where the IBM Watson technology was on Jeopardy.
Yep.
And you had this computer playing these two Jeopardy experts, and the computer won. My CEO, being a pretty far-sighted guy, had made a deal with IBM for the Watson technology. So in the world, you know, a year or 2 years, whatever it's going to be down the line, you're going to start seeing that technology, once we figure out the scaling, integrated with our IVRs, integrated with our mobile offerings, etc. And that really is the language, you know, sort of front and center, and the move to language.
I agree. The only problem I have is 90% of the time I'm in my car, and I'm not one of those guys with those luxury cars where it's nice and quiet. So you get a lot of background noise that adds to my problems.
And then, of course, I mean, there's always something, right? You got the radio going, and you got kids yelling in the back, or what have you. But, you know, we've done our best to minimize the interference. And, you know, auto manufacturers, they've got, you know, the space-arrayed microphones, phase-arrayed microphones. And we're really doing our best. And, of course, in the car, you want the hands-free, eyes-free experience, which we spend a lot of time on. And we've got products out there, for example, with Motorola, that enables us to interact with our devices very safely. And that's where it really has to go. And the more of it you can do, the more intent you can capture, the more you can interact with these devices and not have the cognitive load of interaction and just be able to concentrate on what's here. I mean, that's where it's all headed. And so much, you know, the more you can do that, the better.
Cool. I really enjoyed this conversation, Gary.
Totally my pleasure.